Let me send it again. Beautiful. Hello, everybody. My name is Tavel, and this is Doton, and we're from GFL. And today we have a beautiful special guest, Shylah Ray, who is an award-winning musician, vocalist, and light worker in the community. And we're so happy to have her here today and to be chatting with her and sharing our wisdom with each other. How are you, Shylah?
I'm wonderful.
Great to hear.
I really am. I really am.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
that's beautiful to hear. In the midst of all the chaos that is happening out there, as long as we find our center, we can be so good, right?
It's true. I know I'm on a mission, when you have a mission, it's like I'm here right now.
What's your mission?
Oh, to make really good music that helps people remember who they are. To make really, really great, high quality production, sound, professional sounding, to get out in media, just make the best music possible that can come through me and have that branch out to as many people as possible who need it for their own healing and transformation.
Right.
Yeah.
So your music is specifically to help people heal and transform. Do you feel that? Do you
I
like
do now.
that's how you aim yourself? That's how you are when you write music, when you
It's both. I'd say half of it. And it's changed over the years. I think in my earlier songwriting years, because I was just so open and it was such a new experience for me as a songwriter, I was new to the piano, I was new to songwriting. I could feel that, the lyrical content of my music was definitely more to the positive and uplifting side of things. And I almost felt like that music felt more natural to me. But then over time, I decided, intentionally to kind of bring the focus over to me more, of like letting my listeners maybe get to know me more personally as a human being, and talk a little bit more about like my personal struggles, as opposed to having some sort of message kind of packaged in with it. Although those messages have been extremely helpful for people from what I hear. They feel very comforted by the words and the reminders and the affirmations.
do you allow yourself get vulnerable when you sharing?
I have on the new album. You got to listen to the new album.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually what
The first time writing about relationships.
wow.
About where I've messed up, song about getting really honest with myself and kind of coming clean and shedding, some layers, songs about, heartache a little bit, and just my journey in self-love.
Beautiful. Everybody go check out Shylah Ray's new album, Lessons in Love. We will be also streaming it. And I read that you were self-taught in music. And how did that happen? Was it just at a young age you were always sort of like drawn to music, or was it later in life where, that gravitational pull sort of led you down that road?
I think it happened quite young, because I knew my mom had pipes, and I knew that I could sing like that, and I knew my voice would develop into that. So for me, I kind of had an aim. I had a mission since I was young too, where I was like, you know what, I'm going to teach myself to be a really great singer. I'm going to, practice as much as I can. I'm going to listen to all these singers. I'm going to try to adapt to different vocal styles, practice this stuff over and over and over again, and got really good at mimicking different singers. And it just kind of became this fun thing, that I just loved doing, that actually made me genuinely feel really fucking good. It made me feel extremely good singing. And then as it became very clear that there was a lot of conflict, dysfunction, a big disconnect in my family home, I think music honestly became that source of like refuge, God, sanctuary, therapy. It was like the only thing I really knew that I think I had. Like at one point I remember thinking like I might have nothing, but I have my voice. You know, I remember thinking that really young and being like, okay, that's kind of sad but beautiful.
Mm.
That it was like, you know, you could take everything away from me, but you could never take this, you know, kind of thing. And I remember feeling like, wow, that's special. And in my mind when I was young, I couldn't translate like, oh, this is a gift from God, you know. But as I got older, I was like, this is a gift. The fact that I'm so bonded with music and it was there for me when I feel like nothing else was, and I gravitated towards it as if it was the only like source that I really knew of that, you know, provided me with comfort and ease. It was just like, yeah, it's hard to describe unless you really had it. Like those who know what I'm talking about, but it's just like that thing, you know, that you really need. And it just became a way for me to, it was the very therapeutic, very lethargic, and it was a way for me to, I think, express my emotions. There was a song for everything. So I just clung to that, got really into Bob Marley in my later teenage years because he was incredibly positive and uplifting and had oneness consciousness. And for me, I was already on my spiritual path. Around 17, I was making that transition, you know. It's a long story, but I was like becoming vegetarian, and now I'm exposed to all this organic food and holistic medicine and all these things. But that reggae music, and the way Bob spoke about Jah, it was like I didn't have a God growing up. So to hear him speak about Jah, I was like, oh, I want a Jah. I was like, I want that. So I became a Rasta. I grew out my hair, you know, stopped brushing, stopped shaving, just like went full blown hippie. And I loved it. And they were beautiful, you know, years of my life. But, you know, music wasn't anything I was really committed to or doing yet. But it just came very natural. It was always very intuitive. Picked up a couple instruments when I was a teen, just, you know, took a couple drum classes, was very great at like singing, like entertaining, you know, I did karaoke and whatnot. So again, I got a lot of practice, you know, and it was all just me in my bedroom. So that's, you know, I never had a vocal lesson, a singing teacher, music class, nothing. I didn't do any of that. It just became the love of my life.
That's
Hey.
amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my God. And what a journey that you've like through finding yourself, you found your style, you found your metaphorically your voice. Obviously, you always had that, but like, you know, what you're gonna be singing about, what your message is like embodied, what your vibe is, the sort of positivity that you want to share through your music, like Bob Marley. And I was actually going to ask you, like, who else were your inspirations when you started creating music or even growing up? I saw a post on your Instagram with Erica Badu, and I was like, you know what? She gives me Erica Badu vibes.
Well, okay, so true story. Erica is somebody that I know personally now after years of, you know, very dedicated vision of like, I'm gonna know this woman. Like I'm gonna, you know, and then it happened. And it's been beautiful. It's been such a blessing. And um when I was younger, it was really about pop, of course.
Mm.
Whitney was pretty huge for me. Whitney Houston inspired me to, I think, get into pop star mode. Like it's something about, you know, the single Want to Dance with Somebody just turned me on and lit me up. And I was just like, this is my jam. Then, you know, I got into more mainstream pop culture. It was kind of like kids couldn't really escape that. It was just like there in our face, you know? So I did that thinking I was going to be a pop star. Then discovered R&B, and Lauryn Hill had a huge influence on me because she was such an incredibly skilled vocalist and rapper, and to have both of these equally match was super impressive to me. I was just like, I couldn't keep up. If I couldn't keep up, that's when it was, I like, you're good, you know? Couldn't keep up with Christina Aguilera, Celine Dion, I listened to a lot of, Etta James, Aretha, loved Tina Turner. You know, there were so many, Alanis Morissette, Gwen Stefani, there were so many voices that I was moved by or had different qualities. And I feel like I just became versatile as a vocalist because I could kind of mimic what they were doing. But Lauren was one of the biggest. And then as R&B and hip hop and rap culture really took over, you know, in those 90s and early 2000s were fucking epic. You know, for, you know, so much of this was all over, and you know, and I feel like Black culture was really kind of at a peak there, you know, where it was just, it kind of took over, and the music was just so good, all the best producers, and I just got really into it. I fell in love with rap and hip hop, and you know, and the culture itself, and just gravitated more towards music of culture. I kind of left the pop stuff behind, got into some devotional music, still like the reggae, but Lauren was huge, Erica was huge, and then I discovered who Fela Kuti was, and he is probably one of my favorite musicians of all time. He's a Nigerian activist, kind of like the African version of Bob. It was like he stood for his country, stood for his people, and you know, spoke out almost in every song, you know, against the government and what they were doing to people. And he's just incredible, his stage presence and what he was able to orchestrate. So that's like a real musician to me, someone who can be in leadership like that way, you know, and lead all the people and show them how it's done and have everybody's attention. And his songs are like 13 to 20 minutes long, so they're just amazing, just takes you on a whole journey. So I'd say, yeah, in my top 5, that's them, like Whitney, Erica, Lauren, Fela, Bob. That's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I love how you said a true musician is somebody who has leadership skills, whether it's, you know, being able to get the attention of a crowd, or, you know, have that presence, or, you know, lead people with the messages of their song. And I'm just wondering, like, how does leadership or spirituality play into, you know, you as a musician, your music? How like, are they very intertwined? Is it, you know, my spirituality is here and my music is here? Is it, you know, interconnected?
Well, I'm definitely more of a musical leader than a spiritual leader because my wisdom is only in, you know, in music and singing. It's like
Mm.
that's, you know, I really try to take the humble path and go, you know, what I know nothing, you know, like I just really I tried to, you know, find the answers when I just get still and I get quiet, you know, because I never stop. You know, there's always music playing in my head. I'm always talking, I'm always teaching, I'm always singing, I'm always performing, you know, my life is full in that way. So I don't take a lot of these moments to really stop. But when I do reflect, I think the best thing I can absolutely do right now is to just continue writing great music, continue to have this balance in my life where I'm able to, because I really do live this like split life, right? Because I have motherhood and I'm also teaching singing and music. So when I'm with my children, I'm home, I'm teaching, you know, I'm being that figure to them, and I'm there and I'm present. And then I get these other weeks off and I'm out there traveling, I'm touring, I'm partying, I'm doing ceremonies. I'm just like, I'm on my own time. You know, I'm recording, I'm working in the studio, I'm writing, you know. So I have this balance. And I think the fact that I'm a woman and a mother, and maybe because I'm self-taught and because of the content of my music, I get the feedback often from women that it's incredibly inspiring to them, that I've been able to somehow balance, you know, doing what I love and what I feel like I'm meant to do here while still, you know, maintaining a strong relationship with my children, having just that balance I think everybody's kind of looking for, you know, and maintain my relationship with nature, with God, with creativity, you know, finding a way to be in service, now teaching music, which has been so huge and such a great learning experience for me. So I think that's the way that maybe I walk in leadership the most, is that I'm able to really help guide other women and mothers, especially, who I think maybe feel defeated or like it's not possible for them to do both. And you know, I want to see women thriving, and I want to see everyone thrive, but I want to see mothers, you know, really thriving and doing what they love besides raising humanity, because it's a big job. So I'm
It's a
like,
big job and a very, very important one.
yeah, so that's why I'm like, it's important that you give to yourself as well, and that you find what you love and why you're here, other than just for, you know, this purpose of raising these human beings. You know, I feel like I'm doing some big work healing my lineage by raising my kids. So I do take it seriously, you know, in that way. I think it's one of the most important things, actually, if not the most important thing in my life.
Mm.
Healing your lineage by
Yeah.
raising your kids.
Yeah.
You want to
You
elaborate?
never heard that? Okay. Well, it stems back to why I never had a connection with my mother.
Mm.
Even though my mother is this is the native blood in my family. This is, this beautiful First Nations native side, and I was passed down this gift of the voice. I don't know who my voice came from, but I know my mom sang, my grandma could sing a little bit. It's probably my great grandmother or someone in my lineage. I feel like this torch has kind of been passed down. And my mother's an alcoholic. I'm like getting into detail now, but mother's an alcoholic. There was always a disconnect, and again, that's why it was like, well, music's always there for me. Music's never gonna, there's no two sides. It's just there for me. And yeah, and I was so young becoming a mother, and I don't think I was emotionally equipped to handle, both partnership, motherhood, all the responsibilities at that age. So it was very hard for me at that time, and I realized over time, like, oh, I'm creating the bond with my daughters that I never had with my mom, right? I feel like every generation is here to kind of heal those wounds or break those patterns or look at those generational curses and really be honest and go, okay, am I doing the same thing, or am I really taking, into account how my actions might be, moving in the same direction. So it was really difficult in my 20s because I knew that I was making a lot of mistakes, and I knew that I wasn't able to, really be that
Mhm.
healed version of myself that I could see in my vision. I wasn't that. I was in my 20s. You're not whole. You're still working all this out. There was so much shadow work and, oh God, 12 step stuff and just failed relationships. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about that's showing up in the album now. The shit I'm getting really real about. So because those years were so difficult, it was hard when my girls were younger, but now that they're older and I really see how our bond is so beautiful and how much my children love me, and it's incredibly different, extremely different, opposite to what I had when I was young. I'm pretty convinced that I've done the work. Some of it, there's always some, but my girls are older now, and that's the only way I'm able to really travel, have that time for myself to be out there, performing and spreading love and light and inspiring and uplifting others, through music. And my girls, I think, are proud. I think they're proud to see me
Beautiful.
doing
That's
what I
beautiful. I
yeah,
connect.
so that's what I mean. It's healing that because I'm getting what I never had by raising my children. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I come home and my girls are like, "We miss you. We love you. Thank you." I never said that to my mom when I was young. So I really, yeah, friends reflect this to me. They're just like, "You're really doing it." I'm like, "Okay. All right. Okay." I can't
Beautiful.
always see it. You can't always see your progress sometimes because you're just in it. You're just doing it. You're just in service. We're just doing what feels natural, what feels good, what feels like a natural inclination in order to build and grow and evolve. But when we have those close to us that reflect it and go, "You're doing great. I
Mm.
see you. You're working your ass off. You're making it happen. Things are going well. I see this for you. I want this for you." I'm just so grateful that I have reflections like that in my life. And I think everybody deserves that. You know?
Beautiful. So you're breaking the conditionings
Yeah.
of that your lineage brought you, those belief systems, you breaking them and you recreating a different reality,
Yes.
which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Uh, how did you were mentioning ceremonies, how being in that environment and doing ceremonies, singing in ceremonies impacted your life and your creation?
Well, my work, okay, and let me specify because when we say ceremonial work, that's very different to a lot of people. For me, ceremonial work has always involved plant medicine. For some people, ceremony can look like other things. It can look like cacao. It can look like just a spiritual ceremony. It can look like a women's circle. It can look like some sort of blessing way, you know, some sort, it's like just any kind of ritual, you know, so it's very different for everybody. For me, my relationship with plant medicine started pretty young. Obviously, as a teenager, I was introduced to marijuana and then psilocybin mushrooms, you know, pretty young, maybe 17, 18, you know, and I was already on my spiritual path seeking. I was already seeking source of God, you know, this oneness that I heard about. I was already on my journey. And the psilocybin just enhanced it, you know, so I stuck with them. I was like, we're friends, like we're gonna be there for each other. You know, and I've always had positive, beautiful experiences with them, and ended up getting into the Native American church for a moment when I was in my early 20s, and that's when I had peyote for the first time and in a teepee ceremony, and that is no joke. You know, that is a very serious, deep medicine with a deep history also, you know, with Native American medicine, of course. And so did that, and then ayahuasca came a couple years after this, I think, and I was at a really low place when I was, you know, open to that medicine. I think I had heard stories, you know, of people that have been sitting, and for me, I was, you know, I still had a lot of fear and resistance, and was like, oh no, like all my stuff's gonna come up, like I am not ready for that. I had the two kid, or no, I had one at the time, and I was still just like, no. But then when I had the two and I was really going through a tough time, like lost everything, you know, except my kids. And I was like, I will do anything to not feel this way anymore. So that's how I found ayahuasca. I didn't have, I would say, the best experience in the beginning, but the music moved me so much that I was like, oh, I am so glad and grateful that this music is beautiful as it is, because this would not be a pleasant experience without it. I remember feeling that way, like in it. So I got kind of pulled into the ceremony as a singer. Actually, my first experience was like, hey, come to our rehearsal, come hear the music. My first time reading music in Spanish, my first time trying to sing along in Spanish. I knew nothing. And I didn't end up singing in the ceremony, but for me, it was nice that I got to just be there for the little rehearsal to see, you know, to see, to observe the dynamic of these musicians and how they come together. And then in ceremony, it was, everything was done so carefully, right? And so intentionally. And I was like, this is so beautiful, you know? And I really realized in that one, like that music was the foundation. Fast forward years later, I took a long break. I didn't have that medicine again for a while. And then, you know, it kind of happened, not by accident, but it happened without, you know, me looking for it, of course. And I just landed back in ceremony, and that time I fell in love. I fell in love with the way the ceremony was put together. I fell in love with the women who were facilitating. I fell in love with the way they sang together, with the quality of the music, the quality of the offering, everything. And I just got swooped up into it. And I was like, oh my God, like this is a whole new portal for me, because I'm this entertainer, I'm a performer, right? So you get me in the medicine space, and I have to leave that shit at the door because this
And
is,
you gotta,
yeah, this is a way to pray with it. This is a way to make it an offering. So we call it a prayer formance, right? Because I'm not there to entertain. I'm there to facilitate healing and to know that, oh my God. Oops, sorry. To know that my voice had the ability to, you know, move others, help them with their healing and transformation in the darkest moments, brought me a lot of, I guess, joy and honor and gratitude, right? It was just like, wow, that I get to be here and be the one singing. And now I'm learning all these songs. So I spent a lot of time studying. I know a lot of songs in Spanish and a few in Portuguese now. And I absolutely love these songs. And I love learning about them. I love learning about their history. I love learning about the translation. You know, the Icaros, yeah, are incredibly, you know, they're special because they are specifically designed by the medicine to come through specific people, right? It's like there's no other plant medicine in the world that I know of that has translated so much music through human beings, right? Where all these songs are in devotion to this plant, to this feminine essence to this grandmother spirit energy, you know, which I just thought was so fascinating too. And I think most people find that fascinating when they get into the ceremonial or ayahuasca communities. And gosh, just so many beautiful experiences. It's hard to describe all of them, but I know that the music and the sound and the frequency of sound and the space that I get to be in when I'm there, and how I get to just play music, not for fun, but it's for pleasure and it's for prayer. So I think it's one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had, really, you know, and my voice changes as well. And I think it hits deeper.
Really?
Oh yeah, people are like, that's a treat. Like, people want to come see me live. Come sit in ceremony. It's a completely different experience, especially because I'm so vulnerable and sometimes like, yeah, sometimes we mess up and then we giggle and we laugh and we move through it and we just realize, like, you know, we're not here to get it perfect,
Right,
you know. So
Do you feel that it changed your performance as well? Did it change your relationship to music? Did it change your look at music or
um
use of music?
maybe it's okay, because I've noticed that I'm enjoying certain types of music more now. Of course, I wasn't listening to ceremonial music. I would never feel called to go listen to music in Spanish before. It was just not my favorite. But now that I've gotten a good listen to you know, a large amount of medicine music, I've fallen in love with some of them. So yes, it's opened my mind musically to I guess, again, I've always been into world music. I've always been into music of culture. Very important to me, and I think it's actually better than a lot of the music out there. So I I think what it's done for me, like, yes, I've actually sang a few ceremony songs in my regular sets, but it's a fine line. I've been opening my sets more recently with a ceremonial song and closing with a song like that.
Yeah,
But if I'm going to be opening with a song like that and I'm creating a container, I need to keep it that way. I've gotten this feedback actually too. If you want to hear me get really honest, I've gotten the feedback of like, hey, if you're going to open with a ceremony song, don't cuss a lot in your set and stuff. Just like keep it shanti, like keep it clear, you know? And I'm like, I can't help it. That's who I am. This is how I talk. That's just how I was raised. Like, that's just in me, you know? I've got that like attitude. But, you know, so I'm kind of learning that, like, do I keep this separate? Or is it okay to bring in these ceremony songs? Because sometimes it's nice to open it, it gets everybody's attention. And then sometimes people are like, oh, I know this one, they start singing. Because I used to do covers, you know, I used to do rock, you know, soul, like I do so many covers. But now that my covers are, you know, I'm not doing really Amy Winehouse and Rihanna and Sheryl Crow and Madonna anymore. I'm doing, you know, songs in Spanish and
right.
yeah, and these songs that some people have never heard of. So yeah, it has had an impact on me, but I'm learning that I'm seeing where the line is right now.
How to balance it?
Yeah, I think I just need to make a medicine music album, to be honest.
I think
there
so
you
too.
go.
Yeah.
Because you know, the thing is that while you're in ceremony under, you know, that influence of that medicine, your relationship to music changes in a way, because for me at least, I didn't know music can take me that deep,
Mhm.
awaken things in me that were locked,
Mhm.
like unlock things, unlock feelings, unlock traumas, unlock pain. And when you experience that in the medicine field with music, you're like, oh shit, music can really, really bring out a lot in you.
Yeah, it can.
So it's interesting. So I'm sure you experienced it time and time again in ceremonies, and probably the relationship that you have to the music that you're doing, that you're actually giving to people, is like,
Mm.
hey, let's heal ourselves together. Let's
Yeah. yeah, and I have still so much to learn, and I still have a long way to go because I'm not fully committed to the medicine work as I am, to music. That's my first love. That's my thing. I'm not looking to be a healer or a full-time medicine person in that way. I already have that in me. I already know that. And the way I heal people best is with my voice. Yes, I can use my hands. Yes, I can use feathers. Yes, I can use all this stuff. But the way I've known that I can heal people the most is with my voice. So I'm going to stick to that. And I don't think it matters what I do, where I go, or what I sing with it. I think it's always had that impact on people. And this is just kind of, this is what's the word? It's amplified it.
Mm.
Amplified it even more because of the nature of these spaces where there's just a softening, and I've needed that because I'm the type that I did karaoke. I used to perform for my drunk family and then karaoke for drunk people and then bar. It was just like when people are just in the medicine or they're just totally present, it's such a different experience. Yeah, you're like you're saying, you can receive it so much more deeply and it just feels more meaningful. Like, wow, I'm really having an impact on people. Now we're really bonding and we're having this experience together. This is not me performing for you. This is us having experience together. This is an exchange. And I'm pretty certain this is one thing that I learned in it is that I realized over the years, because I used to put this pressure on myself as a performer, make sure I got my songs practiced, make sure I get all the words right, make sure I have my words there as a backup in case I don't remember, and just do my best, put on a great show, get good tips, sell a lot of tickets, just a lot of that mentality. That was my drive for a long time. And everybody's here to see me. And I will never forget this. There was a night that I was performing at a place. I had like a residency and I used to perform there all the time. And I got up and I remember kind of looking around the room and I was counting how many people were there. Like how many people came out to see me and how many tickets did I sell and how much money am I making, And that being my thought and focus before I even started singing or my offering. And it was like God, spirit, something kind of stopped that thought and was like, stop that. Like, this is not about you. This is about what's coming through you. And people aren't here just to see you. They're coming because they need to heal and they need to sing and they want to open their hearts, and they're coming because they're coming to have an exchange. Music makes them feel a certain way. Some people are having a bad day and they just want to move that energy, stop making it about you. It was kind of like I got that little tap of like, okay, girl, like lose the ego. It's always a little harsh, where I'm like, okay, I couldn't turn it off. It was just like, it just was. I was like, okay, I'm listening. I see that. And it was so beautiful. And it helped me soften at that point. So I was like, you know what? We are having an exchange. I never knew how to involve my audience and have them breathe with me, sing with me. It was like, just put on a great show, sing your ass off and wow them and make them go home where they can't fucking stop thinking about you, where they want to listen to your music and want to come to your next show. That's the impression I used to want to make. And then over time, I think as I started teaching music and singing too, I was like, oh, it's really important that I encourage people to sing. It's really important that I encourage them to be present and that I demand, only the attention in the room because we're, opening the space for the magic to happen, not because it's got to be eyes on me. Like that's going to happen naturally. And it took me years to kind of really get that down and start involving my audience or the people there, where I was like, we're doing this together. This is our show,
Yeah.
So that's how I try to approach it now.
And my dad had a beautiful question about the actual frequency of music. Abba, do you want to ask that? Because I think that's so interesting and
I
actually.
think we kind of like talked about it a bit last time.
Yeah.
About 440 hertz versus 432
I'm
healing.
still not fully educated, so you probably know more about it. All I know is I met a couple of producers who are with it, and some are like, it's bogus, and then some are like, yeah, I'm open to learn about it. Those are the three opinions that I get when I mention it.
So I guess we all need to learn about it more and
That's
more.
right.
you
So
know?
some of us are with it, some of us just feel it intuitively. I think some kind of question it because some people just do that. They go, I question everything. If there's a real significance to this, if there's a real meaning behind it, what does the numbers mean? What is the this? I don't believe in all this shit. And then other people swear by it, live by it, base their life around it.
I mean, am I wrong? But like I've never done ceremonies, but isn't the music in ceremonies like intentional, like frequency, or is no?
It depends. No, I think some of the songs, maybe if there was a study, I don't know if there's studies that's done on that, but I know that you can intentionally write songs in certain keys, especially if you're using certain instruments.
Yeah.
With the ceremonies I was doing, for our second round of medicine, we would bring out so many instruments and we would just have a sound bath. And it would be everything from the little what are they called? The Kogi chimes to the, to a shruti box, which is like a harmonium, to like rain sticks, to, we just like clang all the things. I'd be there with the harmonium. We'd have the hung drum. Like we'd have so many instruments. And honest to God, that was my favorite part of ceremony every time because I just got to sit with different instruments and we'd all find that harmony together. And it was like playtime. I always get a little bit nervous because that nervousness is really about the unknown. Like I don't know what's about to happen here, and that's the best fucking part. And that's why we get so nervous or scared because it's like we don't know what's going to happen, but that's the great mystery of life. And that's like just ride on those feelings, do it anyway, feel the fear, do it anyway. And I would get so excited, like, wow, we're about to create something magic. I have no idea what's about to happen, but I know it's going to be good because it's good every single time. And my inner child like got to kind of play around and play with new instruments, and there was never any pressure to, once again, get it right or to play it well. It was like it was just a moment where I get to experiment, and I'm not sitting at home doing that. So those magic moments can only happen in that environment, and for that I was always really thankful because I play music for a living, I play music for money, I play music for career purposes, but do I really give myself time enough to just experiment with sound? And I think everybody should do that, at least have,
Absolutely.
moments or people around you who can kind of support that or bring it out in you. Yeah.
And even as a child, I remember being in music class and like them giving me a flute and like, you play
Yeah.
and then everyone's sitting in a circle and just having fun, like that childlike essence of just playing it, just to play it and not having that pressure of being good, which is so spot on.
So,
I wanted to ask you, it's gonna take it a little bit back, but as somebody who's a musician and has been through the Hollywood sort of ringer,
hi, girl, I'm just stepping in now. I'm like, bring it on.
okay. Well, I was just, you said I had this pressure to like be a pop star. Maybe that was from yourself or like from other people, but I was wondering like so many musicians, feel this pressure to, they say that it's like a formula, you write the songs that they want to write and like you produce it. How has it been being in Hollywood and like sort of finding your voice in that? Is there, have you felt that like darkness? Have you felt that like low vibrational energy that people are talking about when working in like such a, you know, idealized part of, does
I
that make
love this
sense?
question because I'm so in it right now.
Beautiful.
Okay. The pop star mentality, that was me.
Hmm.
That was my, that's my ticket out of here, basically thing. So that was my fantasy thinking when I was young. I'm going to be a pop star. Somebody's just going to discover me, pick me up, and be like, here's the ticket to Hollywood, and we're going to make you a star, and we're going to just give you the freedom to do all this stuff you want to do, and you're going to get better at it, and you're going to shine, and you're going to make all this money. And then I'm going to look at my family from the television and be like, I made it, that never happened. That never happened. I ended up in Los Angeles unintentionally. I don't know if you remember that part about my story, but I was just hitchhiking, landed in LA. So at the time that started for me, I had a strong resistance to, the pop culture, Hollywood, the dark forces, selling out, the system, the man, all these ideas about what was fucked up in society. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I was in my hippie years. Okay. So I'm trying to break it down because there have been significant stages in my life when it comes to music and career. And only now am I at a place where I feel like I've gone through enough of these stages to know exactly the direction I'm going. And I can say that with confidence. So the journey started because I was, in the hippie years, trying to avoid that. It was a fantasy when I was young. Then that shifted during my spiritual awakening. And then once I became a songwriter, I made it very important to remain an independent artist, which I still am to this
Mm,
day. So
wow.
there's never been a label. I've never had a manager. I've never had anybody tell me what to do. I have made decisions. I write, I own, I publish all my own music. I can do whatever I want with it. I make all my own money from that. I'm the one who settles the deals. I'm the one who pitches myself. It's exhausting.
Sure.
I'm ready for more support. It sounds really empowering, but then I'm like, I need help. I'm at that point now where I feel really clear about who I am, what my mission is, where I'm going, what I need. And I'm okay with asking for that. I'm okay with asking for help. I think in my younger years, I had so much work to do in myself. It would have been a very bad idea to make me a pop star. It would have been a very bad idea to put me in a position like that. Especially because I was just straight edge, like sober, so crunchy, natural, hippie. Like nobody wants that in Hollywood. It's just silly. So fast forward, now that my kids are older once again, and I had a bit more freedom, I started spending more time in the LA music scene,
Mm,
not the conscious communities and not the unconscious communities, just it just is. I meet people of all kinds. I could go to a club and I'm talking with the one person in the room that's got yoga certification and that's into medicine work and that has a sustainable clothing brand on the side or that has,
mhm.
very strong spiritual practices. It's like those are the people I've always gravitated towards and they're everywhere. So I believe that that exists even in mainstream. The dark forces, they're everywhere, but I don't live my life anywhere to where I feel like that takes up my energy or it takes my focus away from what I'm doing. I actually see my mission as being really important when I'm in Hollywood because I'm a happy person and I know what I'm doing and I have the capacity to spread light wherever I go. And I think that's been more important, become more important. It was like something that was said years before, like be the light, spread the light. This is something that you guys are very much about too with your brand. It's like, and I'm in alignment with that. But for years it was kind of like I didn't really feel it. And
Mm.
now I really feel it because I go there and people are like, wow, you're just so bright. And like, you just lift me up. And I'm like, yeah, it's working. It's finally paying off, it's working. And now people, feel a greater impact because of that, because I'm getting out of my mind about like my judgments, I guess, about people, Hollywood, the system, money, evil, Illuminati, whatever, all that stuff. It's all part of it. And now I'm just having fun. Now I'm just having fun and I get to celebrate. So when I go there, I only anticipate good. Yes, I have weird experiences, but I know how to move through them easier. There's always weird experiences in Hollywood, but honestly, Hollywood's been good to me. I will
Right.
say.
And
LA, Los Angeles
you
has been
know
very
what?
good.
You did it all yourself, and like we really commend you for that. And you were never, obviously we don't know all the details, but you put yourself out there, you marketed yourself, you negotiated the deals, as you said, and weren't maybe phased by like the promise of you it took the hard work and the years of dedication to like
Mm,
get to where you are, and like that's not credited to anybody else, any label. And
yeah,
obviously there are people that supported you along your way, but like you can wholeheartedly say like I did this myself, and
yeah.
that's amazing and super empowering for
Still,
anybody who.
yeah, still independent. Did you see I just won the Hollywood Independent Music Award?
No. Oh,
2 months ago, I won the Best Female Vocalist of the Year. That was
my
huge.
congratulations. Oh my
So
god.
much. It made me really proud because I think a part of me has been like, okay, now I'm ready to be on a label. Okay, now I'm ready to get some publishing deals. Okay, now I'm ready for some financial support under me so I can continue to create, incredible content and music
Right.
and not have
Yeah,
to pocket for these projects. But when I won that award, I was like, wow, I am so proud to be independent. And everybody else there were like independent artists and we're there for each other and we're there lifting each other up like, fuck the system, like, the music industry's fucked. Everybody's just like on the same page there where we know why we're there.
Mm,
We've all believed in ourselves enough to get to where we are, and I've always had that faith. I've always just pushed for it. And it's not because I just believe in myself. I actually genuinely love it. I love all of it. I love the weird experiences. They teach me something about myself, they teach me about the system and how to move and how to talk to people and how to find my way through. It doesn't look like so much of a rat race to me. It looks like something else. I feel like everybody's really actually trying to be better people and really actually trying to heal themselves and really actually trying to do their best and be kind and, step into their power and find their truth and do a great job, raising their children. I think everybody really is that way, and I try to see that wherever I go. And so,
beautiful. That's a great thing to as a message.
yeah,
Uh,
we need
yeah.
more people like you in Hollywood.
yes.
I agree. I'm ready for them. I'm like, I feel like it's like being a bear and
And
going,
you're gonna empower other people to be like you, and that's beautiful. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you for
my
sharing
pleasure.
this story with us.
I love telling my stories. I love it.
I
Thank
have one final question, and it's just, something that came up. Can anybody sing, or is it genetic?
you. Both.
Okay.
It gets passed down like any other gift.
Okay.
If somebody in your family was really good at something, you're going to either watch and learn, or you're going to try and learn, or you're going to be encouraged and kind of coached and guided to learn. I do believe innately that music and singing are they're both something very natural to us if we are influenced by it, if we grew up around it. And I think that's actually where the disconnect is in today's society, is that a lot of people feel very alone in trying to learn and understand music and singing, whereas part of culture and tribal living, communal living, it was always part of ritual, tradition, religion, songs, hymns, prayers, just music has always been there. And people just haven't had that experience since they were young, and pop culture kind of steered things in a different direction. So I think if people start remembering the true origin of music and singing, and if they can just have the right person or guidance, absolutely, absolutely, they can.
Beautiful.
I see it every day.
Amazing.
Every day I see it. Yep.
Shylah, thank you so much for just chatting with us and sharing your story and your heart and your light with us. We are huge fans of you over here at GFL. We consider you part of the family. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'm ready for
Thank
my
you.
fall gear.
Go. Let's go.
Bring on the sweatsuits. My
The
favorite.
time is coming.
So
Uh,
grateful for the connection and collaboration. Bless you guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.